with me, it's the fabled guitar player, songwriter, singer. I've seen him sing. He can sing. The creator of Music Box, his latest album. Not to mention all the people he's played with, performed with, toured with, you know. Let's mention a few of them that you guys mostly probably have heard of. Cher. Tell me some more.
There's Edgar Winter,
Glenn Hughes.
Michael Schenker,
Yep.
Asia, Lita Ford,
Sweets. It's hard to even.
Dallas, Heaven.
And now you're just doing Mitch Perry Group.
Well, and Sweet still. I'm
And you're
still
still
touring
doing
with Sweet.
Yeah.
So.
Weren't you guys supposed to be on tour right now?
Well, a lot of us are supposed to be
I
on
know.
tour right
I was
now.
supposed to be on tour right
know.
now. What are we going to do?
Let's sit at home and do interviews.
Yeah, I love that. How you've been with this, you know, let's call it the lockdown, the quarantine.
Well, I mean, I've been as good as you can be. I mean, we live in a beautiful part of the world here.
We do.
You know, I have a wonderful family, so there are way worse places with worse people. I could be, stuck.
That's true. I know. I've been loving actually the time off. I know that you've been touring for the last 30 years. Been doing this for a long time.
It is nice to actually stay home and not feel guilty about. Is there somewhere I really should be?
I know, but do you feel? Because I do. I feel this. You know, this necessity of being at least learning something, producing something, recording, writing something. But all I really, really want to do is to just be home and be a total jackass and not really do a lot, because I do a lot all the time, and so do you.
Well, this is what I said. I go, at the start of the lockdown, you know, I hear we have a major crisis going on, and we're going to have to step up and do our part for the country. And,
Yeah.
and I went, what's that?
Yeah.
And they said, stay at home and do nothing. I went, I'm your man.
I did the same, like, really? That's what I have to do?
Yes, I've been practicing for this for a long time.
I know, you know. When was the last time you actually got to stay home this long? You can't even come up with...
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay, maybe my career is like as a musician, you know, for the last 10 years. I don't think in the last 10 years I had a week off.
No, I could say it's been like that. And the thing is, you know, I love race cars as much as anything else. And for the time I did take off touring for a while, I was always traveling, teaching race car driving.
You did? That's amazing.
Yeah. So
do you actually drive them?
Oh, yeah.
You like going fast then?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that explains your guitar playing a lot. Because you can get fast in there, but...
we can slow down for the hairpins, though.
We can, yeah. I love that you have a room dedicated in your house for your other passion.
Yes, the racing room.
It's amazing.
It's designed to be a place where if you like racing, you'll love it in there. And if you don't like racing, you'll probably stay in the rest of the house.
But, you know, you will indulge your sense of... What was the word I'm looking for? Of
Fable.
Of fable. No, fable was used. Now it's going to be used against me. See how it is? And here, where were you when this all happened? You were home and you were playing at the standing room. I loved those jams. I missed them.
Isn't
terribly.
it weird? That we didn't know that Sunday that was going to be the last one.
I didn't know when it was going to be my last show either, and it was pretty sad. I think I missed that the most.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, that's my favorite 4 hours of the week.
It was mine too.
I mean,
it was early. I already had my gig done in the morning. Then I would come to see you guys. Learn a lot just watching you guys and all the people that came down.
Yeah, no, I mean that was. It was a really, with the lineup we have down there, it's really a place where we all got to express ourselves. And you know, you do gigs, and even, you know, what I do on the Tuesday nights at the Ultimate Jam, It's not really a jam. It's learning songs and it's
Yeah.
performing songs and
It's like
it's
a
getting
network kind
yeah,
of thing there.
exactly. But but it's learning your parts and performing the parts, not
I'm terrible at that.
yeah.
That's why I
Well,
have my own band. I do whatever I want.
I wish I'd figured that out way earlier.
But I love coming down to play with you guys too.
And you kick ass when you do.
Thank you
So,
so much. And I remember being there the first time, and I'm looking at you guys, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm looking at it and the sound that you make with, the band and your gear and your very tiny little amp that you use. I can't believe it gets that loud. What do you use for that? What is it? Marshall?
it's just a regular Marshall JCM 800.
How big is that?
It's a
I thi-
it's a 50-watt amp.
It's as big as it gets.
With 412s.
You look tiny around it. It's amazing. I love it. I love to watch it. Yeah, it was cool coming to see and meet all the people that came too. There was an awesome little community there. You're bringing people from Hollywood, from other areas, just to join a little bubble here in Hermosa.
Well, and that's what I want it to be, is basically a place where, I don't want it to be, I've purposely gone out of my way to never advertise anybody special coming down, because I don't want it to be a place where people are coming to see so-and-so, or I want it to be a place where musicians feel they can come
Yeah.
and enjoy what's coming off the stage and jump in if they feel like it. And it's not an open jam. You got to be part of our crowd. But, if you're one of our crowd and you feel like playing, come down. You'll play.
And it was so cool just to go and not know who was going to be there. Might have some great new talent that I haven't seen, some people, and it was great for networking too, like the jam at the Whiskey. That was cool. I played at the Whiskey a couple times, but you weren't there for the jam with Phoenix Rising, which was awesome. Which reminds me to ask you about the recordings for the Music Box, because I learned that the drummer that played with us that night played in your album.
Yes, Tal Bergman.
Unbelievable.
Then you already know why our album feels so good.
Right. And I know that we were having a conversation the other day, and you mentioned that you guys were recording live.
Yes. Well, I didn't want a click track. I wanted the music to be able to breathe, and I wanted it to flow naturally. Tal is a great drummer. He not only rocks hard, but he swings
Oh, yeah.
better than anybody. Obviously it's all taste and everything, but I swear to God he reads my mind. Because I don't have to
totally get it.
explain. I don't have to explain things to him that I have to explain to everybody else.
Totally. Yeah.
Um,
It's a chemistry too.
Yeah.
Musicians have that stuff. Sometimes you don't need to talk. You can just feel how each other play. How long you've known him for?
I've known him quite a while. I mean, we first started. I've known him since he joined Billy Idol, and I was with Cher back then. In fact, I remember meeting him up in Toronto or something, and we've played together on and off. Maybe 10, 12 years. When I ran into him a couple of years ago, it was like the light bulb went off in my head, because I was planning on doing this record, and I had my eyes on a couple of specific people who I kept having to wait for, and I was getting tired of putting it off, but I didn't want to settle for less than, and then I saw Tal, and I went,
That's it.
that's why we've waited this long, because we couldn't have done better. I mean,
I totally agree. The album sounds so good to listen to. It feels like you're there. It's super organic. You can tell that not only the songs are great, but that everybody really loved playing it. I love listening to it. I have my favorite tracks, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to favoritize anything. But I love it. Now, another question that I love asking is, how do you go about your songwriting? Because you wrote all of these songs.
Different ways. I mean, Saint Valentine is a song I wrote 100% in my head. I didn't have a guitar in my hand. I was on a plane coming home from England,
Nice.
and I wanted a Faces, Stonesy kind of track for the record, and so I just started coming up with it in my head, and started adding the melody line. Then I started adding some words. I wrote down the words. I recorded the melody line into my phone. Wrote down what I thought the chords were. As I was,
Yeah.
doing it in my head. Got home. It all made sense.
The song was
The song,
ready.
100% written.
Oh my
On the
God.
plane.
So, because we are just vessels for what it's already there.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, most of the stuff that I think that I write that's worthwhile comes like that. I mean,
Totally.
it just comes, and it's like, thank you.
I know.
And I mean, I have more than enough knowledge. I can come up with a chord for any occasion. I mean, that's not hard.
I envy that.
But I mean, I could, the thing is, I can sit down and write songs.
Yeah.
But to me, when I sit down and consciously go, okay, I'm going to write, I listen to it back, and it sounds to me like I sat down and
And
decided to write a
Right.
song. I get there, there's uses for lots of material, not every record has to be,
All of them.
the greatest recording ever made. But, the way I like to do it, it's just, I like to keep it more organic.
And you're okay with writing with other people around?
I mean, I'm okay with whatever.
I have big problem with that.
I mean, the thing is, what do you mean writing with other people
If I'm
around?
coming, with an idea, I like to be alone because I'm not really writing right there. I'm just kind of trying stuff out. I have an idea in my head. When I write a song, I just sit and I translate what's in my head into the guitar and the melody, But if there's someone there, I feel very self-conscious, I think.
Yeah, no, that's not the problem for me. The problem for me is I need them to be quiet when I'm trying to get the idea
Well,
worked
that's
out.
good.
And,
I wish it
and you
was
don't want to go, shut up, shut up, shut up. But, it's like, man, when you're hearing that thing in your head, and it's specific. I hear the notes, I know what I want to go for.
Definitely.
And so, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get the fingers to where the ear is already at, but
I totally get it. And I love songwriting. Talking about songwriting, one of my favorite songs from that guy you toured with, Edgar Winter.
Edgar Winter.
Earlier we were talking, and I you immediately knew what song it was. Wank, wank, wank. That song rocks hard. It's badass. The whole album is actually really good. Did you ever get to play that song with him?
Oh yeah, no,
That's super cool.
I mean, one of the coolest gigs we ever did, in fact, that thing you saw with me and Edgar and Rick Derringer, was a White Trash reunion with most of the White Trash guys. The
Right.
only one who wasn't there was Jerry LaCroix, and we got to play with him later in that tour. But on that, we had like the original horn section.
Nice.
Rick Derringer obviously was there.
I love horn sessions.
Yeah, no, he's awesome, brilliant guitar player.
So his songwriting is super beautiful, the way he phrases all of his lyrics and how he sings, and he's super skilled when it comes to singing, and it's different. And I love that a lot. As a vocalist, it really brings me inspiration. I like to listen to new stuff. I'm always looking for new music. And when I heard of him and you playing together, it was such a surprise for me. Not in a way that I didn't think you guys would obviously play together, but and I never heard that. I was like, wow, if I knew it, I would have talked to you about this a long time ago. Super cool. So it was really nice. That you still in touch with him?
Oh yeah, no,
That's awesome.
I ran into him at the airport just a couple of months ago.
Man.
Not very long before we got told to stay
All
home.
stops, yeah. Well, good thing you were at home when that all happened.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd still be wherever you were.
Oh, I have friends who made it back into the country like on the last flight.
Actually, I was also out of town the week before. I was in the East Coast, and that was crazy because I didn't know yet about the whole thing. So I came home pretty unprotected, let's say, but people were like getting sick. It's a crazy world out there right now.
It is absolutely, you think you've seen everything,
No,
and then
in
no,
a
you
million
haven't.
years, I wouldn't think I would ever go through this.
Yeah, no, I didn't see this coming.
Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. Talking about new music, this is another question I love to ask, especially people that I look up like you, because it's self-indulging, It's like a thing I like to do is to find new music. Have you recently listened to anything new? Maybe not new in date, but new to you?
Oh,
Any new artists that went like, hey, liking this dude?
I have a couple of, my new bands that I like. They're already broken up.
But that's okay.
No, there were a couple of really cool things. But new things that are out there now. I mean, it's funny. Like you hear all the stuff about Greta Van Fleet and Dirty Honey, and I like seeing that music out there because I like hearing classic rock still played. What bothers me is that people actually think Greta Van Fleet's like Led Zeppelin. I mean, yes, it's inspired by it and
Yeah.
it's similar to it,
Totally.
but I don't think they're Led Zeppelin guys.
I don't think there is another Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, no.
Let's not insult
But
anybody.
but you see, that's the problem.
Right.
That so many people think it's the same, and I mean this in no way to disrespect Greta Van Fleet. I like their songs and I like the band, and I think what they're doing is great. So we're not ripping on them here.
No, yeah, totally.
But there's a
But they also
huge
have their own
difference
thing.
between being a really good rock band with some good songs and a really good front man and being Led Zeppelin. And
that.
the problem is that all these people who should know better, the fans,
Yeah.
really don't know the difference that this has to be explained to them is, I find, more worrying.
But you'd be surprised that some people are, they think that the new stuff, it's groundbreaking, even though the groundbreaking, already happened. Like, yes, like what you said, these bands are great and they're similar sound to other bands, but Led Zeppelin, they created a lot of the stuff we still play today.
Well, it's
It
just,
inspired.
the thing is, though, they were all superlative musicians. I mean, John Paul Jones was not only the greatest bass player, but he's a phenomenal arranger. And,
Yeah.
he was an orchestrator.
Oh, yeah?
He and Jimmy Page did all these sessions playing on all these different records.
They did, yeah.
They're the best of the best.
Yeah.
And, no disrespect to Greta Van Fleet,
No.
where they're a really solid rock band, and I love a couple of their tunes, but they're not the greatest guitar player of their era, like Jimmy Page arguably was,
Exactly.
or like John Paul Jones was, or like John Bonham was, or like Robert Plant was.
Right.
Every one of those guys, you could make an argument for being the best
You can.
at his particular job. With Greta Van Fleet, they're all nice. They're a great rock band.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
It is. That's what it is. Yeah. And it's so difficult to compare artists to other artists. I tried not to compare anybody to anybody. I get a lot that my voice reminds people of Stevie Nicks. It's an amazing compliment, don't take me wrong, but I like to think that Even though I did listen to a lot of it and sing a lot of her stuff, and I respect her madly, one of my favorite singers, that I also have my own thing to offer, and I have my signature sound, you know.
I'll tell you, it's funny because, like with my record here, there's nothing on it. I'll be the first to tell you, there's nothing on it that's earth-shatteringly brand new. I didn't invent any kind of new music here.
It's difficult to invent these days, but
But the thing is, what I did try and do was recapture the feeling that I would get when I'd listen to records when I was a kid, because records hadn't been doing that for me for a long time. And so I can go and listen to the songs on our record, and I have no problem going, oh yeah, wasted time. That sounds like the Eagles meets Pink Floyd. And it does. But when you listen to the song, you're never going to go, hey, that band sounds like the Eagles.
Not at all.
You're never going to go, hey, that band's totally trying to rip off Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
You're not going to say it, ever. But when I say that's what that song sounds like, a marriage of the two things to it, kind of makes sense.
Totally makes sense, yes.
So, and I could say that about everything on the record. So, I don't mind being compared towards something.
Totally.
I mind being told I'm copying, unless, of course, I'm copying. And if I'm copying, then I deserve to be told I'm copying.
I know, but I think that you have enough vocabulary in your musical structure as a musician that you simply wouldn't want that. I would feel guilty if I was like, oh yeah, I wrote this song, but this song wasn't mine. I don't know if I, would. No, I wouldn't have the courage to do that.
I mean, it never ceases to amaze me what people will do. I mean, I have my code that I've lived by from the beginning of my career. And I've written with a lot of people, and I've never had a problem.
Right.
Okay.
Totally.
So I've had my code. Having said that, even as recently as this record, Music Box, I've had people reach out and do things that I think are unfathomable.
But that's gonna happen.
And that I look at it. I look at it as it's a good sign that it's happening,
Right.
because, no one's going to try and steal something unless it's worth stealing.
Totally. And that's what I was gonna say. Maybe it's in that level where maybe they even do believe that that's the truth, but in a certain way, you have to know the reality of things and go like, yeah, no, even though it might sound like this and this and that. I, for example, take a lot of stuff from everybody I hear.
Well,
But I don't steal. It's not like I sit there and go like, oh, this is what I'm... But not tell me that you are taking stuff. I wouldn't... I don't know if I can imagine that
yeah, well,
happening.
I think we've got enough stuff to draw from in our own personal vault that we don't need to go raiding other people's.
No, totally. I ride with Phoenix Rising, and we just share everything. Everything is 50-50. Even if I come up with the idea for all the lyrics and the chords, But once we're in the studio, there's always inputs. There's always something that someone else puts it in it. So, let's just make it 50-50 for all of us. Make it easy. And then you don't have to think about it, I think it's a leak of energy when you have to worry about things like that. It takes away from the music.
I mean, I absolutely get that, and I agree with that. Like when you're young and you're starting out with your first band, I think that's the way it should be. It should be you and your brothers or sisters against the world.
Yeah.
All for one, one for all. Nobody's more special than the other. However, and I'll give you an instance. I mean, say the guitar player writes all the songs, all the music, singer writes the lyrics. band's gonna, make it. We split everything 25%. But the band goes nowhere. Now, what do you think you should do with those songs 40 years down the road where the bass player and the drummer didn't have word one to do with anything?
Right. That's something to think about, that's
Yes.
for sure. And especially if someone in a band wants to go ahead and use that with for them, for their own shows, with their new project, where do you go from there? That's something I have to figure it out too.
Yeah, it's a interesting question.
It is. So, what do we do now? Talking about what do we do now, I want to just let everybody know that you can find Mitch Perry on Spotify. It's under Mitch Perry Group. His album's there. It sounds delicious. It's so crisp. It's recorded so well. Where did you guys record that?
Well, we recorded at Tal Bergman's studio.
Right.
He has a studio. That was the old Lion Cher that Quincy Jones recorded at. And,
That's all you need to know. You
Yeah,
know the
it's a-
studio
it's
is
a beautiful
you know,
place to track. And then we did a bunch of the overdubs at Shane Solosky's Blue Suede Studios.
Oh, how beautiful. What
and
a sexy
that's
name.
up in the valley. And then once we were done with that, we pretty much did all the mixing at Yossi, our engineer Yossi Shackett's place. And that didn't have a name, but I gave it one for the album.
Okay.
It's called The Shack.
The
His
Shack.
name's Shackett. So
Amazing.
it's an easy one. So that's where all the stuff was recorded. We did it in two different sessions. And as far as tracking the songs, and then overdubs over the period in between.
And you've got some amazing vocalists, I have to say. As a vocalist, I'm so glad that you found that type of musicians, because Keith England, Shelley, and Kara are just roaring warriors of rock. Like, you can give them anything and they will just murder. I even get like goosebumps just to think about it.
Yeah, no, they're all incredible singers, and they all brought incredible performances to this record.
They did
I
indeed.
mean,
I can see them when I hear them. I'm going, wow, that must have been badass to record. I like to sing that kind of style too, that. And I'm like so impressed. I was like, whoa. I knew that they were amazing, but I didn't know that they could record. Like, this is two different things, to record and to sing live. I'm a much better singer when I sing live, but when it comes to recording, I'm a total douche. I can't do it.
Actually, I mean, it's not two different things. It's two different headsets.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I have
singing.
to learn a lot.
Yes.
I definitely do. I have to spend a lot of time in a vocal booth.
But the thing is to get yourself comfortable, so you're not thinking you have to spend time to get comfortable.
I have
with it.
this problem where I think, I have to be perfect when I'm recording. I have this idea that I'm performing for myself, and this is not up to my standards, so let me do it again and again and again.
Yeah, but what are you looking for? What's perfect?
I know.
I mean, what's perfect? Is it hitting the note
I guess
perfectly or in the right spot?
The feel and the note and the delivery and the timing and the phrasing and breathing correctly there.
If it's really the feel, then you should never have a problem figuring it out, because it either feels good or it doesn't.
Well, that is true. That's true.
That's what I live by now when I make decisions. The amount of times I've sat there and debated stuff with people, what do you think? And we talk about, And if we have to discuss it, the answer is no.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
if we're not all jumping up and
I
down with
know.
excitement at what just happened, then no one else who's going to listen to this song is going
Yeah.
to be either.
And
And
the proof is when you hit something that is, let's say, right, you go like, that's it, that was the take,
there you
you know,
go.
and you go like, how do you know it was the take? It was because it felt good. Totally. See, that's why I like to talk to people like this guy over here. Because I get to learn a lot. I just love being on stage with you anytime I can and could. One day I'll snatch you on a tour with me if I'm lucky enough. Maybe you say yes.
I'm there.
You're there. But I'm not going to play guitar with you, though.
Why not? You play great.
Because it's
You
going to be silly.
you do exactly what we were just talking about. You're not, you've been playing a short while, so you're not worried about setting the world alight with technique, but you make everything feel good to your singing.
I
It
just want to
feels
stay.
natural and it flows, and well, I'd rather sing to that than
And honestly,
something that didn't.
I love playing. I really do. Acoustic. I love the acoustic. I have a hummingbird, which is my latest little girl. I've had some other great guitars, but the hummingbird, the Gibson hummingbird was. Ooh, I play it all the time. I play it all day. I played before I came here because I've been doing computer stuff all the time. Like, I just need to really go back to basic. What is it that I really like? I like music. I'm going to play a little bit. Play it a little bit. But yesterday, I did hear the interview on iHeart. And was it the second interview or did I miss any of them? iHeartRadio?
Yeah, that was second interview.
I saw that they played your tune maybe a week ago, maybe a few days ago.
Right.
And then yesterday was the interview.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Yeah, no, they're being a huge support. Bill Hobie's been there since day one for this band, and he's still there now.
He's a great host.
Yes, he's a crack up to listen to.
I like to listen to him.
We've spent time together, when we've gone down to the Keys the last couple of years and played these shows every February. You think he's fun to listen to, you should hang out with him in person.
Well, bring him around.
We'll
I
get
will
him
come.
out here. We'll get him out here.
So what do you miss the most? What do you want to do when you can get out? What you were like, I want to get out. I want to play a gig?
I can't wait till we play a gig. I just did one of those Monster of Rock Cruise, the live streams that they're doing.
You did.
And that was a blast. Yeah, me and Keith St. John.
I did see that. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke
Did
today.
you watch any of that?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. And Kara came over, and we were talking about it and how amazing it sounded.
I know, didn't they?
You did, and you looked
phenomenal
great.
job. I was like, after, because we got together the night before, or not the night before, but the night before the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I'd plugged into an amp since we saw it at the standing room. And I'm like, oh God, I suck.
Yeah, right.
and everything, and then we got into that thing the next day, and it was just great.
That's
Had
amazing.
a blast.
I saw some other performances there too. I thought it was super solid. That was super cool.
Yeah, they're doing and they're planning on doing a lot of that. So,
But it was just a few people there.
yeah, no, it's not a live show. But they have that big room at Third Encore rehearsal.
Yeah.
And they got a nice little sound stage, obviously built up there, and
It's like a building, right?
yeah, it's a big building, with a sound stage in it, and then they have the stage that you perform in
That's
is
super cool.
lit up like that. I mean, it's an incredible little setup.
I wish it was on YouTube so we could check it out. Do you think it is?
Yeah, you could still go back and watch it. It's on the Facebook page, the Monsters of Rock Cruise Facebook page. You can see they've got every one of the shows they've done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will definitely go back and check that out.
Absolutely worth checking out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there, and they're going to be doing this. They know they're down for the year, So, they're actually going to get,
I hope
really
so.
serious on this. And looking where they start from, I can't wait to see where it winds up because
I know.
it's pretty kick ass already.
Isn't it so crazy that before all this, nobody thought about that? I mean, I'm sure that there are shows out there, the internet, but all the Facebook lives and all that stuff. I really wish it was already happening for a while because I love watching music at home.
Well, it was. We just weren't paying attention to
That's
it.
true, yeah. We were
It
going
was
on, we were
all there.
working. You were
Yeah.
busy, I'm busy, everybody's busy.
That's the thing. I mean, if there's one silver lining to take out of the cloud that's going on now, it's that we actually do have a little bit more of a captive audience to
True.
play our music to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people are going to have to pay attention to what's there because we can't all go out.
Yeah,
You know.
totally. And thank God you have your songs also on YouTube.
Yes. Yep.
And the other day you were showing me Wasted Time.
Yep.
Wasted Times. Time.
Time.
Wasted Time. Wow. Actually, I watched it again because I was so baffled's that a word. I'm trying to use my hard words here, guys, from Brazil. I was so, it was so beautiful to watch because that was hard to make. That's such a great lyric video for that song.
Yeah, the lyric video for that's phenomenal. A great story about that. A friend of mine for a super long time is Brian J. He was the guitar player, still is a guitar player in Kiel. And we've been friends like probably since 1985. His daughter is a film student, and he had posted a short film she had made that I thought was beautiful.
Really? Do you remember the name?
It was something about it was a response to the COVID-19
Okay, cool.
thing.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really clever, intelligent piece. And I called Brian up and I said, hey, what Myra did was phenomenal. And you think she'd be interested in doing something for one of our songs? And he put us in touch, and I said, look, just listen to the album and see if there's anything that grabs you. And I said, I don't want to tell you what to do.
Right.
I want you to either be moved enough to do something or say, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And what you see is what you get.
Guys, you got to check it out. Wasted Time on YouTube. There's a video there. There's also the track there. Yeah. It's just incredible. It's made with, paper cuts of newspaper, and there's also images. You can tell it was hard to make that. No. I can't even begin to think how is something like that done.
No, it's I don't even want to know.
I don't even want to know. It's too much.
I mean, it's amazing. And for Myra, that not only are we super thankful, but she's got to know. I mean, I've gotten like Mike Klink, the guy who produced Appetite for Destruction. He calls me up. Where'd you get that lyric video? That is the best lyric video I have ever seen.
Well, speaks for itself.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
She's a talent.
When you showed it to me, I was like, man, if I can afford this chick, I'll definitely have her do some of mine. Why not?
Yeah, you should give her a call.
I should give her a call. These days nowadays, anyway, these days.
It has a nice ring there.
These days nowadays, maybe we should write a song like that. These days nowadays, people are not putting so much effort in the visual because people are not there anymore like they were back in the day in the 70s and the 80s when MTV was in the 80s, right, in the 90s when MTV was putting all the video clips, and I was on MTV all day long just watching it and like totally. Wow, I want to see my idols. I want to see, everybody play. I want to see the story. It's super cool. So that reminded me, that took me back to when they cared about the visuals too.
Oh, thanks.
I really love the Believe. Believe is such a great song on its own. Super. Did you write that one with Keith?
No, I wrote everything.
Not that one. Oh, wow.
Everything on the record is
It's all
I
you.
wrote.
You're
Yeah,
a badass, man.
thank
Let
you.
me rub a little bit off of that. Super
Yeah,
great. And
yeah.
you can also watch the video for Believe on YouTube. And it fits very well to what's going on today.
I do have to say, I wrote everything except there are some lyrics by Shelley and Dan on Pack It Up and Go.
Okay,
So
cool.
I would be remiss if I didn't point that out.
Okay, then there you go. Now we know. And Shelley's such a great musician. My
Shelley
God.
Benet, yes, she is something else.
When I was listening to those vocals that she did on one of the tracks she did, not coming to mind right now, but it was like, what is going on? I want to be friends with this chick. I did meet her on your birthday.
Yeah,
That day, that time we
Yeah.
went for breakfast, and she's so nice, you know,
yeah,
unassuming.
she's a sweetheart.
I love
yeah.
that.
No, I mean everyone in this band is.
Everybody
I mean,
is.
that's
You're
the
right.
amazing thing. But it's not amazing. I mean,
It is. It's hard to have
you know,
everybody get along like that.
well, I mean, I've been doing this so long, it's not fun to do it with anyone you're not getting along with.
Well,
so,
totally.
we try and surround ourselves with people.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've been lucky in every aspect. I mean, not just how talented everyone is, but they're great people and in every aspect, not just the musicians, but the engineers, the
Right.
videographers. Glenn Wexler, the guy who did our album cover, is just
I wanted to talk about that. What an amazing that idea. It's beautiful.
yeah. I mean, once again, things just seemed to happen for a reason because I didn't know what I wanted to do for the cover. I didn't even know that I wanted to name the album Music Box at that point.
Great
and
name.
and Ruth and I were coming back from Las Vegas, and we stopped off. We took a scenic detour and went through Death Valley, stopped off in the Badwaters, and she took a couple of pictures and posted them. And Glenn commented, "Hey, this is one of my favorite places to shoot."
Mm-hmm.
Right at the time he commented that, I was telling Ruth, I was saying, this would be a great place to shoot the album cover.
Oh my
And I
God.
said, we call it Music Box, and just take a big music box, put it in the middle of this thing.
Totally trippy. I love it.
And so I see Glenn's comment when I get home. I call Glenn up, tell him the story, and
It's the wave.
Yeah.
You know, you put stuff out. You think, how do they say? Like minds think alike, something like
great
that.
minds think alike.
alike, and it's totally true. And you were in that wave. You were like, well, this is what I'm thinking, and he sees it. He's like, I'm sure this guy's thinking this, and you go together.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate that way, with the way everything's come together in this record.
It was
really.
very organic.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted
And it was
from
like-
the get-go.
Maybe not a breeze, because nothing when it comes to making an album is a breeze, but it seemed that it came together very fast too.
I mean, I had an idea of what I wanted to do going in, so it was a matter of just learning it and then taking that
Getting
in
the
and
pieces
capturing it.
together, and you picked those guys one by one.
Yeah, and they all killed. They took what I had and ran with it.
I know. And you guys, not to go back to the same subject, but at the standing room, you used the band. You just had a different, you had Tall to do the drums, but that's your band.
Yeah.
So you guys know each other.
Exactly, and it's why it feels like a band.
It is a band, yeah.
It's amazing what people can do with Pro Tools. I mean, and it's a blessing. And it's also a curse.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, for me, is music is not about being perfect or the biggest sound, it's about capturing feeling and emotion, and that is a lot more amplified when it's the combustion of multiple people's
Yeah.
feelings and emotions. Now, when you record two different people separately, you can get them to feel each other. You know, well, you get the second person to feel the
Right.
first,
Right.
but you don't get the combustion of the two of them together.
And you had them record the vocals together?
No.
Some stuff,
The
didn't you
vocal. Oh
say?
yeah, no. It's not a live album, but
No.
the album is every track is recorded live, and what I mean by that is, you know, a lot of times you'll get your drum sounds. And, you know, the bass is direct, and just put the guitar in the bathroom. We don't
Yeah.
worry about the sound because it's a scratch guitar. We'll go back and
Right.
dub it. So all we're worried about is getting a drum track, and then everybody sits back and listens to the drum track and goes, "Oh, I think that's
Right.
it." Well, I can't tell if the drum track's it until I know what everyone's doing.
Okay.
You know,
I like the way you think.
So, you know, what we need to make sure we can keep the bass. We need to make sure we can keep the guitar.
Yeah.
Now I know how we're all moving, and I know how it's feeling in the band. You know, anything we overdub onto that, it's still going to have that original
Definitely. Yeah.
feel and that vibe. We can't recreate that playing it one at a time. It just doesn't work that way.
No, you're right. There is a thing to be said about recording that way, you know. It's just there. You're feeling it there. We can feel that you guys were feeling. Plus, you guys are all killers, you know. So it's no brainer. This is amazing. I want to talk to you all day long, but I think I'm going to leave a little more for our next interview, maybe sometime soon.
Awesome. Well,
And I just want to let everybody also know that you can go to mitchperry.com and get the t-shirts. You have beautiful t-shirts, very comfortable.
my favorite t-shirt.
The favorite t-shirt.
And not
you know,
just
it's-
because of the style. They're comfortable.
They are.
Yeah,
And can you buy the album there too?
you can buy it. It could be your one-stop shop for all things Mitch Perry Group.
Perfect.
Now, the album's available there. The shirts are available there. I know Ruth is lining up all sorts of neat things for our fans out there that
She
they'll
is
be able to.
In the back going,
she's-
getting this done.
Yeah, she's got.
That's what we do.
I mean, without her, a lot of this would not exist. I mean,
I'm sure.
she really kind of kicked my butt into doing it.
She's your
so,
rock.
Yeah,
She's a rock star too.
yeah. Well,
Well,
she
you know,
is.
it takes one to know one, and you know that. I love you so much. I'm super proud of your album. I think it's a kick-ass album. I listen to it all the time. I really love everything you've been doing, and it's so beautiful to see what you already have done and accomplished. Such an accomplished musician. Love playing with you. Can't wait to see you guys playing live. It's gonna be a riot. Another riot's gonna break out. It's gonna be so great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me here.
yeah,
And
thank-
hopefully we can get out and play some shows soon, man.
Can't wait till we do. But
Can't wait.
thank you for putting on this deal. And,
Thank you for
coming here
saying
and
yes.
doing this. And,
Yeah.
can't wait till we do it again.
We will do it again. Thank you guys so much for watching.